Okay, so here we are again. Believe it or not, we had a power outage yesterday that was almost 3 hours again, and that one was blamed on a animal. It said cause of outage animal, so I don't know if there was a squirrel or something that got into something or what the deal was. But before it went out, there was kind of like a flicker, and I thought like the appliances, I think the refrigerator was running, kind of seemed odd, and then it came back and seemed fine, and then it was probably 5 seconds after that everything went out, and that was it. So that's when I looked it up to see, and restoration time was going to be about 3 hours. So I said, oh, time to pull this thing out again, and that's what we did. And I noticed the last time I ran it, the last outage we had like a week ago that was 3 hours or so, that there was some like speckling on the ground and stuff, and I didn't make much of it. And I know there's always like a little bit of like oil residue on the bottom here, and I thought, well, no big deal. Well, then yesterday I noticed there was more oil speckled all over, and quite a bit of oil down on this support here, and it looks like this bottom of the cover here is where it was coming from. Up on the top it looked pretty dry, so we're gonna pull this cover off and take a look at that. Alright, I had to move inside. I guess it's starting to rain. I'm not sure. The weatherman tells me it's not going to rain until like midnight tonight, and then it starts sprinkling, so I don't know what the story on that is. So anyway, I removed the 4 bolts here and pulled this off, and this is kind of what the inside of the cover looks like. I don't know, this here, I don't know if that's, I don't know, it looks like condensation, but it's obviously oil. There's like a sealant that's spread around the inside of that. Boy, the mosquitoes are bad in here. But if you look at the bottom of the gasket here, you can see how there's oil on the outside. So I don't know if that's where it was leaking. I know the screws are very loose. They were not very tight. Maybe they should be checked after so many hours. How many hours I got on this thing? So I got 32 hours on, which is a decent amount in the last, like I said, the last two weeks here. I think I've put on, I don't know, probably 6-7 hours run time. So the other reason is I brought it in is the gas needs to be changed out. It was popping and missing again, and I can't recall if I changed the gas in July. I don't recall doing that. Usually I do it twice a year. So, and that's even with a stable in it. So I'm going to keep draining the gas, but I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I thought maybe the gasket dried out. Obviously that's not the case. The gasket looks like it's plenty wet. So I'm going to dry it out, and then I'm just going to torque those down a little bit more than what they were, and hopefully that takes care of the oil issue. So inside this cover I was trying to figure out why they had that sealant on there. Well, so they have a breather here, and this is actually like a check valve, a one-way valve here. So that must be, I don't know if there's an extra piece of metal they have in here that's kind of caulked in there or what, but you can see they got sealant all the way around. So yeah, this all looks pretty clean here. There was some dirt at the top, and the top bolts, actually no, that was the bottom that was dirty. Well, the top bolts on this cover were extremely loose, like I would say hand tight. So it didn't take much at all. So I'm going to definitely crank it down. When I cleaned the surface off, the top had basically no oil residue on the gasket at all. The bottom was just saturated, and like I said, the oil was just running down, and it was all over the filter here. And that's why I kind of thought, oh, maybe the filter is a little loose, and that's what's leaking all over the bottom. I also thought the oil drain maybe, and it's been doing that for a while now, but you know, when I'd run it, I've only run it probably an hour or so just to make sure everything's good with it. But when you actually need it and you let it run for a few hours, that's kind of where you find stuff out. So I'm thinking it was probably just some loose bolts, so we're gonna tighten those up. I don't know if I should clean this cover up. Looks like it's got some surface rust. Oops, some surface rust going on here too. Maybe just hit that with some fine steel wool just to kind of polish it up a little bit. So I'll get this put back together and we'll go from there. Alright, so I got it back on. Like I said, I polished it up there a little bit with the steel wool. And I took the rusty bolts that were on the top and put them on the bottom, so if it does leak again, maybe the bolts won't rust as bad. I'm just wondering if I should check the exhaust bolts as well. I know we had a new lawnmower at work and the exhaust bolt was gone, fell out already with I don't know, under 100 hours. I don't know. And there was nothing in the manual about checking over exhaust bolts on it on a new machine. It just seems odd that either the quality on stuff is just not being checked, or instructions to the guy servicing it should be check bolts after 10 hours, go through and check these bolts. I don't know, just seems odd, because if it's not stated, we're not going to spend extra time checking over stuff. The stuff that's in there is the stuff we check over. So well, anyway, that's what that looks like, and I'm going to get the cover put back on here and we'll wrap this up. Okay, so I got the gas all drained and I got it on, the gas that is, and get everything put back together again. So let's fire it up and see how it goes here. Alright, so I just got done running it here about 20 minutes, and I still got oil. I don't know if you can see that on this connector here. There's oil there, some oil running down the cover there. I'm not sure if that was stuff that was maybe tucked up in there, but it kind of looks like it's still leaking right there. It looks like it's running down, and I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't coming from that cover. I'm not sure. Maybe it was coming up further on the head. I didn't think it was, though. So I don't know. I'll have to dry it off. It could have been just residual. I didn't like degrease it or anything. So I'll just clean it off again, kind of keep an eye on it. And next time I run it, I guess I'll just have to kind of be aware of that there's oil. And you can see some on that oil sensor there. There's a drip on the connector. So yeah, I'm not real sure. And this thing still is missing a little bit. Every once in a while it'll kind of hiccup. I don't know why that is. I keep switching out the gas and I'm only putting in no ethanol 91, but I still end up with issues with it popping and missing. I don't know, maybe the valves need to be adjusted. So alright, that's going to be it for now.